Hello everyone, my name is Catalyst and welcome to the How to Not Suck series, the grammatically incorrect series that teaches you how to play Battlefield. As you may know, we are going through every single specialist in the game before going through some more in-depth videos, going through each one, learning how to most optimally play them, and learn their quirks and tricks before suggesting loadouts for them. The previous episode was on Boris, so if you have not seen that video, or are interested in watching it, you can click the card in the top right hand corner of your screen if you are on desktop, or you can click on the thumbnail at the end screen of this video. Today's episode is going to be covering Irish, the fan favorite character turned nostalgia cash grab device, who ends up being a pretty underwhelming specialist at the end of the day. Irish can be a useful specialist, but I've found that his abilities tie him too strongly to one area, and with so much going on around you at all times, it really neutralizes his effectiveness. Today we're going to go over his shields, sentinel systems, detailing how they work and how you should use them on the battlefield. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get into it. So Irish is a bit of a disappointing specialist, and I'm going to be frank with you. Getting the gameplay for today's video was probably the most frustrated I've been playing this game yet. I really try not to lean too heavily into the which specialists are better than others aspect of this series. I really try to just get the tips in the main part of the video, but I do feel obligated to share my opinion on what I feel about these specialists, and for Irish, he is unfortunately pretty low on my board currently. It's not that his abilities are innately useless, because as far as practical abilities go, his abilities are pretty useful. Irish is a defensive specialist. His whole shtick is making places defendable. I think that's actually one of his main voice lines, but the problem that I alluded to earlier is that Battlefield 2042's maps are too big for his abilities to be useful for very long. There are so many angles that you can cover, and in my experiences, I found that trying to use my abilities just got me killed and thus didn't really make me want to use them after a while. But the good thing is that Irish's abilities are some of the only abilities in the game that don't perish after death, so you still want to place them down to help your teammates. So let's go over those abilities. Irish's first ability is a transparent deployable shield that he can lay down on flat surfaces and slanted angles, and they allow him to hide behind cover and see the battlefield in front of him. The shield can withstand about 50 bullets or 3 rockets before breaking. I have found that if you aim in just the right spot that you can actually kill Irishes with splash damage who are behind their shields with the recoilless, so you aren't 100% safe, but you are about as safe as you can be. Most enemies don't really bother shooting the shield, they just elect to run or wait for you to pop up, so in my experience you don't have to worry too much about enemies destroying your shield, you just have to worry about them pushing you. A cool little perk is that these shields can actually completely stop light vehicles, almost like a crash dummy test. That's the closest thing I could compare it to. If a car runs into your shield, it won't completely kill the vehicle's momentum, but it will stop it just long enough for you to get out of the way, and it will destroy the shield in the process. It'll be pretty hard to find a practical application to this, but the more you know, I guess. Irish's second ability is a trophy system that can destroy grenades, missiles, and other projectiles in a certain area of effect. The Sentinel trophy system can stop up to 5 projectiles, so these things are actually pretty sturdy, and more importantly, they are hard to see and make no noise until they actually destroy a projectile. So these things can be really useful on some of those more close quarters breakthrough objectives. One of the best uses of the Sentinel trophy system is on breakthrough when you are getting absolutely ground pounded by some helicopters. You can set down a few Sentinel trophy systems and it will mitigate some of the effectiveness of those rockets that are being shelled down on you. It's not a complete counter, mind you, it only destroys 5 projectiles, but if you get a squad together, it will certainly help. Now, the really unique thing about Irish's abilities, as I've already said, is that they are actually the only abilities in the game that do not perish upon death. They stay up until you replace them or they are destroyed by enemies. Technically, Casper's drone also lives through the death of its owner, but you have to put out a new drone every time you die, so Irish really is the only specialist in the game in which his abilities persist through their owner dying. You can combine your 2 gadgets together at the same time, so it's not one or the other. You can place a trophy system and a shield, but just know that whenever you put down a new item, after you have already placed down 2 items, the oldest one disappears to generate the item that you want to put down after the cooldown. Irish is also one of the few specialists in the game that has armor given to him straight off of spawn. He shares this only with Angel, and his passive ability is that he can receive more armor when replenishing armor plates, either from Angel or from the gadget itself. It's a nice little extra buff to Irish, but to be honest with you, it doesn't have too much of a consistent impact. With that all being said, what is the best way to use these abilities, and what in my opinion is the best way to play Irish? Well, I think it would be easier in this case to start by telling you how to not play Irish first. I think the most common way I see people play Irish is that they will place down their shield in the middle of nowhere and crouch behind it and just kind of sit there and look out in the great beyond trying to scan for information. And whenever I see this, I just kind of giggle to myself because it's just kind of cute. It's like finding a cute animal out in the wild. I see this and I perceive these particular players to be no threat at all to me. I'm sorry if I'm describing your playstyle with Irish right now, but I've been able to aim down sights at them, walk up to them, and then wait for them to pop up, and I usually can win that engagement. Please do not surround yourself with shields in the middle of the objective or sandwich yourself into corners with the shield, because eventually you will get surrounded and killed. And what's more so in this situation with this type of playstyle is that it doesn't help you, and it certainly doesn't help your teammates either. There are a few key ways in which I suggest you use the deployable shield. Firstly, you can place the shield in doorways, hallways, and on staircases, so if you ever want to make map traversal a real hassle for enemies, especially in Breakthrough, then that's a really nice tactic to employ if you really want to make it difficult for enemies to get to you or to an objective. I think the most consistent way to use his shield is to use them as an extension of cover on head glitches and an extension of cover on corners. This way you can peek further around corners with relative safety and gain more information without getting yourself killed. If you place the shield, peek the corner, and see someone, you can easily crouch behind the shield and back around the corner. Or you can try and challenge your attacker with some well-timed crouch peeking. You should also use Irish's shield whenever you are on any vertical terrain shooting down on your opponents. It takes the power of a vertical head glitch and makes it just that much safer for you. That's all fine and dandy, but the huge problem with Irish, and what makes him so below average to me personally, is that all these good, effective techniques for using his abilities really forces him to hyper-focus on one area at a time and doesn't allow him much versatility. His abilities are very much designed for crowd control, but especially in the 128-player version of these game modes, there is too much crowd to control and too many angles to play around, so Irish really develops this bad side effect of becoming a sitting duck whenever you try to play around his abilities. So that increases the frequency of set it and forget it type gameplay, which, to be fair, with his gadgets not being destroyed when he dies, it does lend itself to that. But that doesn't exactly make him a great specialist, it just comes down more to the individual skill of the player. So what is the ideal loadout for Irish? In my opinion, I think that the ideal loadout for him is actually a PP29 or MP9 with a medical grate and smoke grenades. And the reason I recommend the PP29 specifically is because I think the SMG really provides the adaptability that Irish needs to be somewhat viable. It's a longer range SMG with a lot of rounds in it and decent hip fire. I think that using an AR or LMG in this case really further cements Irish into turret mode, and as I've expressed throughout the video, I think that gets you killed more than anything else. As always, I suggest other compatible specialists to run alongside with this specialist if you are running in a squad together. For Irish, I suggest Angel, Falk, and Boris. Angel is a popular choice in squad mates, he just does so much, but for Irish specifically, he gets additional armor from armor plates, which Angel dispenses. Falk is also a good choice here because I found that Irish is kind of a big baby. He needs to be babysit a lot. He needs a lot of medical attention, so healing Irish while he peeks from his shield is a good combo. And lastly, there is Boris. If you watched the last episode of the series, you'll remember the Boris turret Irish trophy system combo. It's just too strong to pass up. As for where I would rank Irish, as much as he holds a special place in my heart as a Battlefield fan, I would rank him as the 7th best specialist in Conquest and the 8th best specialist in Breakthrough, which is the worst ranking specialist we have covered yet so far when you combine both game modes together. As I'm sure you've picked up throughout the video, I didn't really enjoy my time with Irish, and while I absolutely acknowledge how good his abilities can be and how useful they can be, and I hopefully conveyed the best way to use them in this video, I think map design and game flow really hinder him from being a good specialist, and there are just better specialists to use instead of him. Man, they really made the Irish Battlefield 4 ending canon just to make him one of the bottom tier specialists in the game. That's just so sad. That's the end of the video, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you found this video useful and enjoyed your time here. If you enjoyed it, drop a like and leave a comment. If you made it to the end of the video, it helps me tremendously in the algorithm. This is more than likely going to be the last video before Christmas, so I would just like to wish you all a very Merry Christmas if you celebrate it. Thank you for being so supportive of me and my comeback to creating content this year. And thank you for the massive growth lately. We've grown nearly 2,000 subs stronger in just a month. Keep killing it, you guys. You guys are awesome. Which, speaking of, if you did enjoy this video that much, you should consider subscribing, as I will be making more guides on the game and will be making tons of 2042 content like this moving forward. I stream 4 nights a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Obviously, I'll be away for Christmas, so that won't apply for this week, but when I do stream, it's at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Once again, thank you all so much for watching. My name is Catalyst, and I will see you all another time. Merry Christmas!